Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-1086. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. All instances of SCP-1086-1 are to be contained and quarantined until death. While no method of treating or curing SCP-1086 has been determined, it remains possible to prevent its spread so long as infected iterations are contained as quickly as possible. Due to the time-sensitive nature of containment, any mobile task force not engaged in immediate actions may be activated for purposes of capture and transfer of SCP-1086-1 instances to Central Containment Area at Site-38. In the event of a widespread outbreak of SCP-1086, any facility, foundation, or otherwise with a biohazard containment chamber rated at biosafety level 3 or higher may be commandeered for containment purposes. So long as containment protocols are carried out in full, there should be at least one instance of SCP-1086-1 at any given time. This iteration is to be kept alive at all costs until identification of the next victim is complete. Use of any and all necessary medical supplies are pre-authorized for this purpose. In the event of a containment breach resulting in more than one instance of SCP-1086-1, it is to be considered preferable that multiple infected individuals be kept alive for fail-safe purposes, but the prevention of further spread of SCP-1086 is to take priority over this. However, under no circumstances are iterations of SCP-1086-1 to be terminated. This will lead to further outbreak. Note: some concerns have been raised regarding the extensive commitment of personnel and material required to the containment of a single individual. It should be remembered that the priority here is speed. SCP-1086-1 instances become contagious within 6 hours of initial infection, giving 25 hours total of advance warning to stop a potential epidemic. Additionally, containment may require seizing control of a specialized biocontainment lab in complete secrecy before administering amnestics to dozens or hundreds of witnesses. Budgetary concerns are secondary. Dr. Head Researcher, SCP-1086. Description: SCP-1086 is an immunosuppressive disorder principally brought on by infection with a heretofore undiscovered species of bacteria. Infected individuals are designated SCP-1086-1. The disease has two primary effects on the human body. First, the disease causes the body to reroute 90% of its leukocytes to a single location in the mediastinal lymph node, forming a translucent, gelatinous mass identified as SCP-1086-2. During the formation of this mass, white blood cells are converted into a mass of closely interconnected neurons, glial cells, synapses, and circulatory tissue. The final mass will be composed principally of these cells and the bacteria responsible for transmitting SCP-1086, making SCP-1086-2 especially dangerous. The bacteria responsible for SCP-1086 has shown total immunity to bacteriostatic antibiotic agents and a near total immunity to bactericidal antibiotic agents. In those cases in which bactericidal treatments are effective, the bacteria's rapid rate of reproduction effectively nullifies the treatment's effect. Second, due to the sudden near-total suppression of the body's immune system, infected individuals will develop multiple opportunistic infections, leading to the victim's rapid death. The bacterial species responsible for SCP-1086 is only found in infected humans and in SCP-1086-2. It has not been located in any other environment or species. SCP-1086-2 is produced by affected individuals during the course of the disease, and is one of the principal vectors for transmission of SCP-1086, previously thought to be the only principal vector. A marked difference between SCP-1086 contamination and other immunosuppressive syndromes is the pattern displayed by the opportunistic infections that ultimately result in the patient's deaths. While other immune-suppressing disorders result in a wide variety of different infections, SCP-1086-1 iterations consistently contract infections in a particular pattern, detailed below. The course of SCP-1086 is included in Addendum 1086-1. Addendum 1086-1. SCP-1086 Infection Pattern. Stage 1. Initial infection. either through contact with bacteria or through death of prior instance of SCP-1086-1. Patient will rapidly lose immune system protection and fall prey to any number of dermatological diseases. The full list is included in Document 1086-32. However, regardless of the exact nature of the infection, all Stage 1 symptoms will be skin-related, and all will result specifically in severe pockmarking and blistering in geometric shapes across the patient's body. Without skin grafts, SCP-1086-1 iterations will die before entering Stage 2. As per Containment Procedures, this is to be avoided at all costs. SCP-1086-2 will begin to form in the upper chest of affected individuals, integrate itself into the nervous system, and begin sending messages to the brain. This process reverts the body's leukocytes to a pluripotent form and reassigns them as neuronal tissue. This process is very energy taxing and will burn through affected individuals' stored fat deposits quickly. Massive amounts of supplementary nutrition must be supplied to SCP-1086-1 to avoid death at this stage. Infected individuals become contagious 6 hours after initial infection. Stage 2. Beginning of neurological symptoms 18 hours after initial infection. SCP-1086-1 iterations will become intensely feverish and lose the ability to form coherent sentences during most of their waking hours, speaking mostly in rambling passages with no discernible meanings. The words will be clearly spoken, but the sentences will be incomprehensible in most instances. The only consistency in this stage is the insistence on the part of the affected individuals that they are lost, without any further explanation. Most patients will likewise contract conjunctivitis during this stage, though all other symptoms will be neurological in nature. SCP-1086-2 will begin sending increasingly complex signals to the brain, which affected individuals will perceive as droning music and mumbling voices. It is believed that the utterances from SCP-1086-1 are attempts to process or describe these sounds. The subject's brain and SCP-1086-2 will battle for control over infected subjects' bodies, with the brain invariably losing. Stage 3. Total takeover by SCP-1086-2, 48 hours after initial infection. Cerebral tissue in affected individuals will begin to decay to an unusable extent, giving SCP-1086-2 increased control over affected individuals' bodies, particularly the speech centers of the brain. During this time, SCP-1086-1 iterations will begin uttering a name and a series of numbers. These numbers can be processed into rough coordinates describing a location somewhere on Earth. These messages will be interspersed with hysterical periods of unintelligible babbling, believed to be attempts on the part of SCP-1086-2 to request assistance. Individuals will repeat these phrases for 1 hour, at which point SCP-1086-1 will go into convulsions and expel SCP-1086-2 orally. All personnel must wear Biohazard Level 4 blue suits during Stage 3. Any violation will result in quarantine as a new iteration of SCP-1086-1, as infection is almost certain without total isolation from the contaminated environment. Infected individuals will enter a comatose state and die within 6 hours after expulsion. 12 hours after the death of one SCP-1086-1 iteration, the individual named during Stage 3 will spontaneously contract SCP-1086 and become symptomatic. All Foundation task forces within the range of the designated location are to converge on the area, locate the named individual, and deliver him, in order of preference depending on the amount of time required to capture the individual, to Site 38, any Foundation location equipped with biohazardous containment facilities, or any civilian facility with equivalent specifications. Task forces involved in such operations are authorized to use whatever means necessary to commandeer such facilities, then call for Foundation reinforcements. Containment of named specimens is paramount. Addendum 1086-2. Discovery and Concealment Record. On July 8, 1994, over 200 small gelatinous masses fell onto the town of Oakville, Washington, USA. These were found to be the initial iterations of SCP-1086-2. Individuals were infected with SCP-1086. Foundation personnel surrounded and quarantined the town, and were successful in capturing all contaminated individuals. While the use of amnestic agents allowed for the suppression of news of the event, The event reoccurred 5 more times over the next days. Mobile Task Force Gamma 5, Red Herring, was unable to completely prevent all news of the phenomenon from escaping, but was successful in creating multiple false leads and misdirecting the public understanding of the event. This concludes today's lecture. Thank you for listening, if indeed you still are, and you are all dismissed. Goodbye. I would like to give a special thank you to Banker, Zargaran, Professor Puffer, The Morrigan, Ritalius, Karim El Ashmoui, Big Onion Bean, Sio Diodemnatus, Revenant, Brian Sanchez, Matthew Gilmore, Eric Corbidge, Kawaii Firekeeper, Longinus, Carcass Dethaqua, King Madding, James Saba, NJ Vojak, and Oblong Doucheboy. If you would like a special thank you at the end of each of my videos, and some other cool stuff as well, visit patreon.com/TheVolgun. Thank you.